All right, hello everybody. Welcome from sunny Southern California, where it's a perfect 70 degrees down here. And so I'm spending it inside casting some Myth World Cup games. This would be QR2, one of the two matches going on, the other match being Men in Tights against Team Save Myth. I am currently streaming the Team Rat-Sized Cats versus Avon's Grove team from the point of view of Avon's Grove, which today comprises of Captain Jeoku, Vigor, Bridgestone Tired, and Garnish, going up against Team Rat-Sized Cats, even though their team name is Cat-Sized Rats, I guess, with their Captain Homer accompanied by the host Thal, Adrenaline, and Karma. Game number 1 is Capture the Flag on Barbarian Valley. Yeah, so here we go. This is QR2. If you tuned in last week, you might remember that unfortunately it's sort of impossible to view this as a neutral party, so I can only see the point of view of Team Avon's Grove, but I'll try to do my best to capture as much of the action as possible. Okay. Vigor is saying that he'll try to sneak to their flag, so perhaps Jeoku has some trickery up his sleeve. We shall see. I don't know if you could hear that, but there was a seagull making some noise outside. Unfortunately, those things are kind of a menace when you live a bit close to the beach. Hopefully that bird will take its noise elsewhere. We see Jeoku drawing on the map. He wants a sort of typical two-pronged attack, going to the middle, taking these hills for the elevation advantage. I'm not really sure what these other markings indicate. I'm guessing some kind of scouts, maybe perch a Dwarven mortar from this upper elevation to seal off this this channel, as well as this channel up here, or up here rather. So yeah, I'm not really sure if Vigor is being given any kind of sneak attack. I mean, he does have this group of Zerks, so that might be what he's referring to. He also has this group of spiders, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. Bridgestone saying, if peeing in your pants is cool, you can consider me Miles Davis. I believe that is a reference to the movie Billy Madison, so shout out to some 1990s Adam Sandler movies. And we're off. So with the unit distributions, we see Bridgestone Tired appears to be sort of the heavy hitter, maybe. Or actually, Jeoku has the Trow. Bridgestone Tired has both the Fetch and the Solus, and a Mortar, and some Mauls. So that an extremely tall order, and this game is very much going to rely on the performance of Bridgestone Tired, who has 6 Fetch, 8 Solus, 2 Dwarven mortars and a handful of mauls for backup. That is going to be a pretty tall order, but maybe Jeoku's strategy is to just sort of stay on this ridge right here and delay Team Homer long enough to get this massive Zerk flank to do its thing in the backfield. You see some spider scouts early on doing what they're supposed to be doing. It'll be interesting to see at what point one of Team Homer's spiders will notice this Zerk pack, at which point I would expect, oh, there we go. So we see Adrenaline with a 3-trow push from the north. I don't know if Vigor, okay, so they're probably communicating that, yep, all trow are north. So this sort of sneak attack from Vigor is pretty much dead at this point, and now he is forced to sort of run for his life, even though all of these Zerks can probably take out 1 or maybe even 2 of these trow, but you know, Adrenaline has quite a bit of presence on the map, and so I think Vigor is rightfully trying to preserve his units as much as possible. However, eventually he's going to have to engage these trow because there's pretty much nothing on this flag. So, you know, Adrenaline correctly knows that he can outrun these Zerks if he just continues making a beeline for the flag. I guess Vigor getting in a slice. Yeah, he got 1 hit on him, but it is sort of a foot race at this point. Bridgestone with his wide variety of units falling back, and that kind of leaves Garnish all sort of by himself, even though there doesn't really seem to be anybody attacking him. We shall see what's going on.
Flag contested.
Garnish seems to be asleep at the wheel, not really moving his units. There's 1 trow trapped, but they did not execute. The mauls could have blocked in this middle trow a little better and killed it. Now I think they're largely just going to get picked off.
Flag contested.
Had they been able to trap that trow, I believe that would have forced Adrenaline to retreat. But unfortunately, they just couldn't seal that 2 maul blockade, which allowed Adrenaline to wiggle free, and escape, as well as taking down the defense mauls, which now forces Vigor's Zerks to sort of play defense until some other unit set replaces them. Garnish's Solus appear to be getting eaten alive by some spiders. That is not good. And now these fetch are going to go to work, piloted by Thal. Team Avon's Grove does have eyes on Team Homer's flag, though they are massively outmatched, so it's not even worth trying to engage. At this point, Bridge is being forced to engage Karma, but unfortunately I think he has just such a wide range of units, it's going to be really difficult for him to be effective. Perhaps he should pass something to Garnish, maybe. Yeah, this is not going to turn out well for Bridgestone. He's just going to get taken apart. Hopefully he can stone one of these trow. Maybe if these fetch turn around and zap this guy. But it appears he's going to go after the Solus instead, which is probably the wrong choice. And he's going to get taken out. On the other side, we have Jeoku going after these mauls. I'm not sure. He's probably going to go after the fetch, okay. this. Oh, that's a nice swing by Thal. Yeah, so we see this would actually be somewhat of a okay engagement. I think Team Homer would absolutely win, but I think Jeoku could stone two of their trow if he engaged back then. But now it doesn't. I think these Zerks are going to get vaporized, and yeah, it's pretty much over at this point.
Flag contested. Flag lost. Team eliminated. Game over.
Yeah, and so that is game one in the books. We see some massive damage from Adrenaline, 124 damage. You know, Thal with some good damage, Karma with some good damage, and you know, Homer seems to be sort of managing the game from his captain's role, which is what he was supposed to do. On the other side, you know, kind of getting obliterated here. Jeoku with the 3 trow, some decent damage, but unfortunately that trow trap at Team Avon's Grove flag with those 2 mauls, I think they could have sealed in one of those trow, and that would have massively changed the game, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. But overall it was an interesting map, and I do not have this map, so I have to let me see here. Yeah, so I guess it would be this one. I'm pretty sure I have at least 3 or 4 versions of this map, so whenever there's one that I don't have, it's a bit annoying, but at the same time, always happy to download some more freaking myth maps. All right, so we're back. So we got Yukigassen, Assassin, and it appears as though these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 villagers are the assassin targets. It'll be interesting to see what kind of unit trade we have, considering these villagers are mildly fast. One thing to notice is that, you know, when given the unit set here, these villagers are faster than the thrall, they're faster than the dwarves, and I would say that they're slightly slower than the warriors, and of course they're faster than the archers as well. So I wonder if they're going to take that into consideration. Of course, dwarves on this map are typically ill-advised because of the snow conditions, which decreases the likelihood of the dwarven bottles exploding, but it appears as though Avon's Grove have opted to get 4 dwarves, 3 herons, which I assume is the maximum, some thrall, which this is a bit You know, again, considering how the villagers are much faster than Thrall, I don't know how optimal this is. I don't know what function these Thrall will have, but we'll see what happens. I think instead Jeoku should have opted perhaps for some more warriors. So yeah, I mean, based off this unit trade, I'm guessing Avon's Grove is going to play this more or less as if the villagers were more or less a flag, and then I guess the function of these thrall is going to be to defend these villagers as if they were a flag, and I think these are just going to be bunched up somewhere, surrounded by a bunch of thrall, and in my opinion, it's sort of a overly defensive strategy, and I think these thrall unit points could have been used to get some more maneuverable warriors, which I think could have, you know, warriors serve both as a defensive and offensive unit, and I think it would have given Team Avon's Grove a little more maneuverability, rather than playing it as if these villagers are indeed a flag. So. It appears as though the Heron guards are opting not to heal this wight, even though, you know, of course the wight is an assassin target, so maybe it, you know, maybe it's a strong play, maybe it's not a strong play. You'll notice that Team Homer opted to heal the wight, so they actually have, excuse me, it's a bit dry out here. They have -1 kills, so theoretically, Avon's Grove is in the lead right now, but at the same time, without a lack of water, I think this wight will be an easy kill, to sort of even up the score. There's a straggling Heron guard back here. Considering Heron guards are probably the most important units on this map, it's concerning to see that it appears as though one of the 3 Heron guards has been forgotten. Instead, we see Adrenaline with a squad of ghouls, both 2 out of the 3 Herons coming in from the south, and sort of a traditional 3-pronged attack: Adrenaline, Thal, and Karma. We shall see what's going on. Or actually, these are the walking villagers, so I guess their speed is probably similar to Thrall. I was expecting them to be sort of the running soldiers, or the running villagers, but I guess I was wrong. And that just shows my sort of lack of knowledge of this game type, of regular myth in general, or perhaps life in general. It seems as though Adrenaline is running down Vigor, and you know, maybe it would be best to just turn around and take as many of these units as possible, rather than, you know, just getting slowly picked off. We see Karma with the high ground, sort of attempting to bottle in Avon's Grove at this sort of choke point right here. Very good positioning by Karma. I don't think Garnish is going to be at an advantage if he walks into this valley here and starts firing upwards at Karma, despite having perhaps double the amount of archers. That would be ill-advised. Thal is holding steady at this choke point here. They're really just attempting to bottle in Avon's Grove in this tiny little sort of curved strip of land right here. Yeah, this is not looking good for Team Avon's Grove. At this point, I think the optimal strategy would just be to just try and defend this position for 10 minutes and hope all of these guys survive. But that is really sort of a strategy out of desperation and necessity rather than discretion. So I think Team Avon's Grove is once again up against the wall, but we'll see if they can in fact hold out for close to 10 minutes. So indeed, it appears as though these thrall, again, are being used as if these villagers were indeed a sort of mobile flag, if you will. They're more or less just locking them in this little strip of this cove, if you will. The Heron guards take an extremely defensive position, which again, if you see how Adrenaline was able to swoop down from the south and cause complete havoc, these Heron guards absolutely need to be in the mix, causing some havoc and destruction rather than guarding these villagers, which, at this point the thrall could have just as easily done. So there appears to be kind of a stalemate. Adrenaline's army does not have archers to try and pick off these dwarves, so he's kind of at a stalemate. Let's see what's going on up here with Karma. I think it'll be up to Karma and Empy to try and outmaneuver Garnish to sort of secure this entryway. I don't know if Karma has enough firepower to come off of this high ground and engage Garnish in an uphill battle. That would be kind of a tall order. Thal seems to be maneuvering down to the south. It's these archers that are going to try and take out these two dwarves. And actually, Jeoku with some nice maneuvering of his own to try and counter Thal's archers. I don't know what this villager is still doing here. I think it could have just ran around to this side to stay with the rest of his units. It actually gives Adrenaline an opportunity to tie up the game. Bridgestone needs to move that dwarf. Bridgestone definitely needs to move that dwarf. Jeoku needs to engage these warriors, or these archers. Now okay, so Karma and Empy must have done something. I missed it. I apologize for that. And now all this goal really has to do is pop that wight, and it's pretty much over. Oh, swing and a miss. That is not good.
Eliminated. Game over.
And there we go. -8 for Avon's Grove. So that was an interesting game. I think, again, that decision to dump maybe 20 points into Thrall could have afforded Team Avon's Grove to get a little more maneuverability if they had instead gotten 10 more warriors. But it was overall a interesting game. Currently, the score is 2 games in favor of Team Homer, Team Rat Size Cats, and Avon's Grove unfortunately struggling to find their first victory of both this week and Myth World Cup in general. EmpyPhil, Britain's greatest export, unfortunately has to download this map, so we'll see how long that takes. And he's back. Life just seems so empty without Empy, or empty without Empy, rather. Appears that I think we're just waiting for Vigor. Alright, the legendary Jahral Toad making his appearance. This should be now a 5 versus 5 match. Or, sorry, yeah, a 5 versus 5 match. I'm not sure what's taking him so long. There he goes. So we will see how the additions of Empy and Jahral have an effect on these games. All right, so now we have flag rally on shuffle off this mortal coil. Again, the teams are now 5 versus 5, although not not formally the captain or formally the leader of Avon's Grove. I think Jahral Toad represents sort of the heart and soul of the team, as he's been the sort of one binding factor for the last few years' iterations of Avon's Grove. And so to have that presence in Avon Grove's corner may tip the scales in their favor. Who knows? Team Jeoku, no doubt communicating over Discord voice chat. So I really have no idea what their plans are for this game. We can see that there's a bit of an uneven distribution for Avon's Grove. Jeoku still has 35% of the units, Garnish with 23, Jahral 13, Vigor 7. So there's a bit of a uneven distribution. It'll be interesting to see if that changes, or if it's actually part of their strategy. If you look at cat-sized or team rat-sized cats, even though he perhaps Homer has a bit of a bout of dyslexia or something, and he wrote his name sort of the opposite way. He has 36% of his forces, whereas everyone else seems to have, about 15% on average. Thal just given another group of guys, but these
captured.
The team captains with these large percentages. It'll be interesting to see what the reasoning is for that. Again, Jeoku, who, if you recall, during the first couple of games of QR round 1 against the men in tights, against Team SM, Jeoku in a couple of games took no units and then sort of took units as necessary. Now he's taking 35% of the units, and perhaps he will distribute units as necessary.
Flag captured. Flag captured.
Alright, it seems like everybody's pretty much going their own ways. Traditional sort of three-pronged exploration.
Flag captured.
As these fetch slowly make their way to the middle, it'll be interesting to see if they want to climb these ramparts or engage the middle. We definitely want to plug up this middle, because it's just a huge access point to the rest of the map, but I'm not sure what these 3 units are doing, and if Jahral's fetch and warlock are the only range units stopping a push. They've got 4 warlocks, and surely the fetch are somewhere back here. so we'll see what happens. So we have, it appears as though Jahral is holding this middle all by himself. Meanwhile, we have Homer and Thal bombarding Jahral with some fireballs. Jahral perhaps shooting himself with a bolt of lightning. That's not too good. Jahral perhaps almost blowing himself up. Down south it appears as though, okay, so both fetch appear to have gone south, and now Jeoku is engaging these two fetch, which appear to be guarding flag number 3 by themselves. It'll be interesting to see if Karma peels back or decides to take a stand. These archers do not want to be walking in the water with fetch around, but perhaps Jeoku doesn't know this. Adrenaline is pushing with some fetch, and Bridgestone I think is in retreat mode. I think he's going to use this tunnel to try and funnel Adrenaline's units through, but I don't think Adrenaline's going to have any of that. He's perfect awareness of what he's doing. Surprisingly, Jahral is still alive. No offense intended. I thought Thal and Homer would have taken care of that fetch, but he has effectively sealed off the middle. However, there is a leak in the form of adrenaline coming from the south. And it seems like this Mercuridia is about to tear into Bridgestone. And now Jahral, I think, is forced to, perhaps he gave these, okay, so Jahral spared these Mercuridia to Garnish, I think. It'll be interesting to see how he uses them. Meanwhile, Jeoku cannot seem to get any hits on Karma's fetch. Of course, archers have slightly longer range than fetch, but fetch also have the ability to destroy the arrows. So, plus, Karma is decent at dodging, based off of his World War II resume, which stands pretty much... Oh. So it just so happens that I was upselling Karma's dodging skills as he basically gets walked into a bunch of arrows, but be that as it may, he's still a very, very good player, and even though he sort of ran contrary to what I was trying to say, I still like the guy immensely, still a very good player, and he's definitely pushing Jeoku back. And just as I said that, his other fetch gets annihilated, so yeah, who knows. Thalander with the Maul Rush.
5 minutes remaining.
Nice block by Jeoku. Appears as though Jahral. Ooh, that was a beautiful warlock shot by Vigor, maybe? I'm not sure who he killed, but someone was caught unaware. I think Jeoku is correctly withdrawing from flag number 2. There's going to have to be a final stand at flag number 1. However, it's also worth noting that with 6 flags, you know, basically Team Homer is 2 flags away from victory imminent, or 1 flag away from victory imminent. It'll be a tall order for Avon's Grove to simultaneously have a last stand at flag number 1 while also tagging the remaining flags, which would then set up for Avon's Grove to actually make a final push for flag number 4, which I think is a tall order considering there's less than 3 minutes left. And it's going to be much more difficult to guard flag number 1 without that warlock.
Flag captured. Victory imminent.
Now all that's left is these 2 warlocks. I do not believe Avon's Grove has any units to tag, so this is pretty much it right here. I don't think it's possible for Avon's Grove to win this game. Their option is to just go down swinging or save some time and let them tag number 8. However, I would opt to go down swinging, as that is the sort of way to play Myth with integrity, and in 2022 integrity is pretty much all we have, and most of us don't even have that, so might as well play this game out. This 1 warlock is completely stationary. It could be launching some fireballs at these troops right here. Okay, he's getting there. And then this Berserk, I guess he's just sealing this ramp.
1 minute remaining. Seconds remaining.
Yeah, so even though some players may object to, you know, the sort of foregone conclusion of this game, and, you know, not having Jeoku walk off the flag, I absolutely agree with their decision to go down swinging. And you know, this is Myth World Cup. Even if it weren't Myth World Cup, you got to play it out. And you know, kudos to Avon's Grove for sticking with it, despite you know, despite losing the game. as we can see, Empy about he seems to be proud of his -2 damage. Adrenaline with 81 damage, Jeoku with 81 damage. Good performance by him. Again, I'm not really sure. Not really sure if he held the 35% the entire game, but it was sort of a strange unit distribution. So that is, I believe, game number 4. Let's see what these people are saying. TSS. Yeah, so immediately following these Myth World Cup games, there should be the grand finals of the spring series. Unfortunately, I have a 2:30 tee time for a golf course down here, and it's about an hour away. Probably gonna have to leave in a couple hours, so I don't know if I'll be able to capture those games. You know, it is perfect weather out here again in a beautiful July, 4th of July, Southern California weather, and so I don't really want to spend all day talking to you guys. Acts of Cruelty. So actually this might be game number 4 out of 5. I'm not really sure at this point. So I don't think we played Creep. So yeah, I guess this is game 4. I mean, time moves slowly when you're having a miserable time. That's all I can say. Oh, well, meant to say something to Karma, but whatever. Yeah, so this is acts of Cruelty, I think, and the game type is territories. I think we played one of these forest giant type maps last week, or maybe it was in the spring series, summer series, whatever TSS is. These goals should come preloaded with, okay, so maybe it's a different, I don't know. These regular maps, they all seem the same, which is sort of a bold statement coming from a World War II player, but, you know, I'll stand by that statement. All of these reg maps are more or less the same. It'll be interesting to see who is going to get the forest giants. I was wondering why the Soulless moved during planning time. I guess it was to kill that spider. That's sort of bizarre. But anyway, yeah, so we see that these goals, I don't believe they are preloaded with pus. Usually the strategy is to detonate a couple of wights in the backfield, pick up some of the pieces in an effort to try and stun these forest giants. It doesn't seem like that is what Avon's Grove is doing, so I'm not really sure why they have goals to begin with, perhaps for tagging and scouting purposes, but that's about it. We see Jeoku with a forest giant, with both forest giants, and Jahral with 27% of the troops in the form of two out of the 3 Zerk packs, a couple of goals. Garnish has some souls and some Thal elite, as does Vigor. Bridgestone, I think, with a couple of mortars and maybe some, yeah, this other Zerk pack. So it appears as though Jeoku is going to take the pilot controls of both of these forest giants. It'll be interesting to see how effective keeping the forest giants together is going to be, as opposed to handing one forest giant to somebody else.
Game on.
Not really sure what Bridgestone is doing.
Captured.
He appears to have gone completely crazy,
Flag captured.
damaging a couple of Garnish's Soulless. I'm not sure what the theory was. He is just... I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's got a plan, maybe he doesn't. Perhaps he's searching for some duds. For what purpose, I don't know. The only thing I could think of is perhaps if a goal picks up one of those mortar shots and a forest giant happens to smack one of these goals, the shot will explode and do more damage to the forest giant, which might be what he's going for, but at the same time, it might be more prudent to get these mortars to the front lines. We see Vigor is the first person to cross the river for Team Avon's Grove. It doesn't appear that anybody is attempting to tag this flag, but again, it's not flag rally, so it's not important right now, but perhaps it might be a focal point of the game later on. So we see Thal correctly sealing off this middle passage with his mortars, and no doubt there's a forest giant. Yep, forest giant here, Adrenaline, and there's probably a forest giant around here somewhere. I'm guessing piloted by Karma. Or I guess Karma is over here with his forest giant.
Flag contested. Flag
and
captured.
Actually, Karma appears to be going for this south flag. I'm not sure if there is a... Yep, there's a goal. I mean, so this flag right here...
flag captured.
Team Avon's Grove might get flagged.
Contested. Flag captured.
This Karma is no doubt going to wreak some havoc in the backfield. Putting maximum pressure by tagging these flags as well. And,
Flag lost.
you know, puts all the emphasis on here, all the focus.
Flag contested. Flag contested.
We see Homer coming in with a Dwarven mortar. At this point, these forest giants are in complete defense mode.
Flag contested.
Some large explosions are happening. People are dying. This soulless push. Interesting. Don't know where that sort of came from. We have a bunch of buried Thrall Elite. And
Flag
it appears as though these forest giants are in retreat mode. Perhaps giving up these Thrall Elite,
Flag
leaving them
contested.
to fate.
Flag lost.
And now this is the last flag, and it appears as though Karma might seal the victory. Unless these Jeoku
Flag
forest giants can
contested.
tag, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Flag
Yep.
lost. Game over.
That'll do it. Yeah, so I mean I think one of the major differences between Team Homer and Team Jeoku was the fact that Team Homer split the forest giants, giving Homer opting to give one to Adrenaline and one to Karma, and even though they both went the same, they came down from the north, they were able to serve two very different purposes. Adrenaline putting a massive amount of pressure on that middle flag, while as Karma rotated south and attacked the Zerk packs and the mortars from that direction. And so splitting the forest giants was able to put massive amounts of pressure in two different places, whereas keeping the forest giants with one person really just concentrated all the firepower more in one area of the map, and it wasn't as effective. So this is game 5. Unfortunately, Avon's Grove still looking for that first victory, as it is 4-0 in favor of rat-sized cats. This last game is king of the map on creep, and it is still 5-on-5. Garnish saying there's almost no winning versus Adren. 1 versus 1, he's like a force of nature. But at the same time, turnips are a force of nature. So, don't sell yourself short, Garnish. Jahral also says, Adren is very, very good. It's crazy. So there seems to be some praise for Adrenaline. So a shout out to him. And we're off. This is game 5. Alright, so Jeoku's trade has completed. We see that Team Jeoku appears to have gone heavy on the Thrall. It'll be interesting to see how he employs those Thrall. I mean, just off a cursory examination, it seems as though we went pretty light on the archers. And if it becomes sort of a stalemate fight, that is not going to go in Team Avon Grove's favor. So I think, you know, Team Jeoku is going to have to get creative with the Thrall. Perhaps one squad of Thrall is going to be on these flags here, or some Thrall are going to be on these flags here, and then one is going to either act as defense on this middle access point, or perhaps plug up some of these holes in the wall. But again, I think the archers are gonna, the lack or lack thereof is gonna play a major role in this game. I also believe that Team Avon's Grove could have gotten some more warriors. Looking at the unit distribution, again, Jeoku with a pretty hefty portion of the units. We saw him with 35% a couple games ago. You know, he had both Forest Giants last game, and he appears to have 31% this game. So it's good to see the captain taking a lion's share, you know, trying to lead his team to victory.
Game on.
But at the same time, perhaps distributing it a little more equitably would be in the best interest of Team Avon's Grove. We see pretty much a dead even split between the 4 heavy hitters of Team Homer, and unfortunately Empy with just 6%, perhaps a handful of goals, or maybe even 6% worth of Thrall, and maybe a dwarf or something. So unfortunately, Homer is not placing much faith in the British wonder, EmpyPhil. We will see if that works to their advantage or disadvantage.
Flag captured. Flag captured.
So we see that right off the bat, these Thrall are going to accrue time for this flag right here. Garnish is making a push for this flag, and it appears as though the Thrall are going to back up the middle engagement rather than sitting on this flag. Perhaps that is a misuse of the
Flag
Thrall,
captured.
or of this many Thrall. Well, we shall see. It appears as though Adrenaline is going to seal off this middle single-handedly, perhaps.
Flag captured.
In the north we have Thal, which means that Karma is likely going south. However, we can't see what's going on. That is a unfortunate puss, or a fortunate puss, depending on whose team you're on. And these archers are getting slaughtered.
Flag contested. Flag captured.
I'm not sure what this Thrall is doing. It should be hacking some of these archers. But now these Thrall, which were supposed to protect the bowmen, they're now sort of abandoning their position, and I think they're just going to get
Flag
eaten up by
captured.
this dwarf. Karma finally showing himself. He's making a push for this middle flag. And it appears as though Vigor and Garnish are making Empy and Thal think twice before crossing this river. As though Thal has rotated from the north to help out Adrenaline in the middle. This journeyman is causing some havoc before getting destroyed. I think this middle army is going to get wiped out.
Flag
Which is
contested.
going to allow Thal to perhaps make a push for this river. You'll notice that Adrenaline had about 8 archers, Thal has 8 archers,
Flag
Karma has
lost.
about 8 archers, so they really went heavy on the artillery. And if you'll remember, Team Avon's Grove had about 10 archers, something like that. And so, you know, the ranged fight was really sort of a key factor, and you know, the push mid with the 20 Thrall or whatever it wasn't really much of a factor,
Flag
except
lost.
for perhaps that one Thrall that got in early, which could have perhaps killed one of these Adrenaline archers.
Flag contested. Flag contested. Flag captured. Flag lost.
Karma's gonna run roughshod over these
Flag
units.
lost.
There's not much that could be done. Adrenaline probably gonna take out this warrior. Maybe not.
Flag contested. Flag contested. Flag contested.
They
Flag
really the
captured.
only presence for Avon Grove is now
Flag
in this
contested.
western area.
5 minutes remaining.
Garnish with a couple of dwarves,
Flag contested.
or rather Vigor.
Flag captured.
Jahral throw in some kind of piece. Not really sure what that is. Perhaps a bowman head? Yeah. Unfortunately, after all these years, you still can't really tell what the heck that is, but I would bet on a bowman head.
Flag captured. Flag captured. Flag lost.
Jeoku with an unfortunate plus dud.
Flag lost.
Yep, and
Flag
at this point it's really
lost.
just sort of mop-up duty.
Flag lost.
You know, we have a convincing win from rat-sized cats, 53% to 16%. And I don't think there's really much Avon's Grove can do at this point except go down fighting, which again
Flag captured.
is the optimal way
Flag contested.
from an integrity
Flag
standpoint.
captured.
And so I applaud them for their decision to not just suicide their units.
Flag captured. Flag lost.
Alright, it looks like the last, perhaps exciting moment in this game might be a dwarf fight
1 minute
between
remaining.
Karma and Vigor. We will see if Karma's archers will allow that to
Flag
materialize.
lost. Flag contested.
Almost paralyzing
Flag
that
lost.
dwarf right there. And that's that.
Thirty seconds remaining.
Put your hands in the yellow circles is perhaps a Fifth Element reference. Shout out to Luc Besson, Bruce Willis, and the people who made that movie back in the 1990s.
Flag captured. Flag contested.
And that'll
Flag
do it.
lost. Team eliminated. Game over.
So unfortunately, Avon's Grove still looking for that first victory after Homer sweeps Avon's Grove 5-0. Adrenaline with 69 damage. Good number. Jahral leading the way for Avon's Grove with 27 damage. Jeoku, unfortunately, 15 losses, no damage at all. Perhaps he healed some wights or something. But yeah, hopefully Team Avon's Grove will get it together next week. I believe they're facing the Men in Tights, which are probably the favorites to win this thing, so it'll be a tall order, but anything can happen in Myth, which is why it's such a great game. And I'll see you next time.